moment of inertia, torsion, whatever units we study till now, this is the combination of all units. Okay, so all the formula which we study in previous units, it's required or used in this unit too. Okay, so basically, first we have to know what is the difference between the direct and bending stress. What are the direct stresses and what are the bending stresses? Okay, so means what happened when there is a beam. Okay, when there is a beam and we apply a load on particular beam and there is no bending, means before before bending is start sorry beam is start bending, till that there is a direct stresses, and when at which point the beam is start to bend in particular point, so the bending stresses take the place. Okay, so we have to know that what is the direct and bending stresses, what are the difference between bending and direct stresses. For that I will show you a small video, and you have to go through this video, and I ask some question regarding the video. So just I share the video where you can see the difference.
YouTube channel, please subscribe our channel for daily sound engineering videos. Today our lecture is about the difference between the direct and bending stresses. So I will explain this difference between these two types of the stresses with the help of examples. Let's consider that this is any simply supported beam, and the simply supported beam is subjected to any inclined load of P. So due to this inclined load, the beam will subjected to two different type of the stresses. This inclined load can be divided into the vertical component. One will be the vertical component and the other one will be the horizontal component of this load P. So the vertical component can be called as Py and the horizontal component can be called as the Px. So due to these two components, we will have two different type of the stresses. So if I consider again that if only this is a beam simply supported, and if I consider only the vertical load Py, so we will have the bending stresses in this beam. This beam will bend like in this, and we will have the bending stresses. So this load is called the transverse load, and this load is acting perpendicular to the axis of the beam. If I consider this is the axis of the beam, so this beam is acting at a 90-degree to this axis of the beam. So due to the vertical load, we will have a stresses we call is the bending stresses. While due to the horizontal component of the load, we have another type of the stresses we call is the direct stresses. If I consider the simply supported beam again here,
अंकल जी इस कैंटीन दूर दूर तक कस्टमर्स को नजर आए, इसलिए गूगल पर
and this is the axis of the beam. So due to this horizontal component, this horizontal load component Px, we will have a stress in the axial direction along the axis of the beam. It means that this load makes an angle of 0 degree with the axis of the beam. So we call it the axial load. So this axial load creates the axial stresses in a beam, and this beam will try to compress. Like for example, it may be compressed, it shows compression of certain degree. So let's suppose this is a delta, and this is compressed because there is a roller support and it cannot resist any horizontal force. So due to which it will be compressed in this way. So we will have axial stresses in the along the axis of the beam. So this load which creates the axial stresses we call as the direct stresses in a beam. So this type of stresses is called as the direct stresses. And how to find the bending stresses and how to find the direct stresses. The direct stresses are really simple and it can be calculated as sigma D is equal to the P, the load or Px divided by the area of this beam. If this is the cross section of this beam, let's suppose this is the depth D of the beam and this is the width of the beam. So the load acting on this beam and dividing by the cross section area, we can find out the direct stresses. And how to find out the bending stresses? The bending stresses can be found out by this formula, mc over I, where m is the moment, the bending moment where you want to find out the bending stresses. You just find out the bending moment value at this point, and c is the value from the neutral axis of the beam to the top of the beam. This we call it the c, the distance from the neutral axis. This is the neutral axis of the beam, so it is the distance from the neutral axis up to the top of the beam or up to the bottom of the beam. We call this distance as c, and I is the moment of inertia. You can find out moment of inertia according to the geometry of the beam. So by plugging all these values, you can find out the bending stresses in a beam. So the two main types of the stresses we can find out by these two formulas. One is called the direct stress and one is called the bending stress. So if we have inclined load, so it means we have two different types of the stresses. If we have just vertical load or the transverse load on the beam, it means that we will only design our beam for the bending stresses. But if we have horizontal load only, then we have to design our beam for the axial load. If we have inclined load, then we will have to design our load for the combination of the stresses, and this will be called as the combined stresses, the sigma D and adding with the sigma B, where sigma D is equal to the P over A and bending is MC over I. So this equation is called as the combined stresses. So if inclined load is acting on the beam, so we have to use this equation for finding out the combined stresses in a beam. Similarly, let's consider this in the column. If this is the axis of the column and this is the load acting at the center of the column, let's suppose this is the P. So due to this load, we will have a direct stresses in this beam. So this load is acting along the axis of the beam. So we call this the stresses creates due to the concentric load is called as the direct stresses or the axial stresses. So it will be again direct stresses will be called as P over A, the load, and dividing by the area of this, the cross section area of this column. This is the cross section of this column, so it will be D, the depth and the width of the column. So dividing the load divided by the area, we get the direct stresses on this column. But if this load is now at a certain eccentricity from the center, let's suppose this load at the corner P, and it is away from the center at a distance of E is called eccentricity. So this load will create some stresses we call as the bending stresses. Now you cannot use simply this formula to find out the stresses in a column. You cannot design the column by using this formula. So you will have to use another formula to find out the stresses, because now the load is not at the axis of the column. So which formula? I have to use bending stress formula, the MC over I. The moment, the bending moment creates due to this load, because now due to this load the column may deflect. If this is the column, if this is eccentric load, so this column may deflect in this way. So this column may deflect in this way. So we have to find out the moment value. The C is the distance from the neutral axis up to the top of the column section or bottom, and I is the moment of inertia. So we can find out the bending stresses in this column. And we have to use this formula because now the load is not acting at the axis, at the center of the column, but away from the center at a distance of E, which is called eccentricity. So now we have to use the bending stress formula. If it was acting at the center of the column, so we have to find out the stresses which are called as the direct stresses, and very simply dividing the load by the cross-section area of the column. So also in column we have two different type of the stresses. One is called as the direct stresses and the other one is called as the bending stresses. So it depends upon the load, that how the load acts on your structure.
So students, from the given video, we can see that what is the basic difference between the direct stress and the bending stresses. Means when we going to apply the axial load, when we going to apply the axial load, then we get the direct stresses. And when we apply any inclined load on the beam or column, then we get the bending stresses. Okay, so there is a difference between beam and column. Okay, so we can say that in the horizontal position, if beam is a horizontal position and column is a vertical position of a component like this. Okay, so we can say that this is a beam, and if we put same things in the vertical position, then this become a column. Okay, so column is always fixed on the bottom. Okay, so this is a column. So here we talk about the direct and bending stresses. So when we say that this is the direct stresses or bending stresses, see, in our chapter bending moment and shear force diagram, we calculate the bending moments and shear force for a different type of load. For the different type of load means for the point load, for the uniformly distributed load, okay, and for varying five distributed load, varying distributed load. Okay, so here what we can say, if point load is apply like this or like this, okay, vertically and horizontally, vertically and horizontally. So if point load is applied like this on the beam, if we say this is the A support and here is the B support for the beam, okay, so this beam is bent due to the vertical load, due to the vertical load, okay, and this horizontal load is about its axis. So this horizontal load means if we say that if this is Fy vertical load and this is the Fx, so the Fy load is responsible for the producing the bending stresses and Fx is responsible for the direct stresses. Okay, so if we forget about that and take a new beam where this inclined force is applied, means the force is not in vertical, okay, and the angle is 60 degree, angle is 60 degree, okay, where the force is applied means 60 degree के इंक्लिनेशन पे आपका ये फोर्स अप्लाई है, दैट इज वी कॉल दी एफ, ठीक है ना। तो जब इस तरीके से फोर्स अप्लाई होता है, व्हेन द फोर्स अप्लाई इन दिस वे, देन वी हैव टू रिजॉल्व द फोर्स into vertical and horizontal component, into the vertical and horizontal component. For this we can draw a rectangle like this, okay. So if this is theta, we can say this is theta, which is we say that 60 degree, theta equal to 60 degree, take here 60 degree, and now this is F. The magnitude of this force is F in this particular direction. So what is the vertical component means this and this. So what happened here? If the force direction is like this, so what happened? The force is dissolved in this direction and in this direction. Okay. So here it is very easy to find out the vertical component and horizontal component, because this is a triangle, right angle triangle, and we apply the Pythagoras theorem to find out this component, or we directly apply the sine rule or cos rule to find out this component of the force. So here this become F sine theta, and this similarly the horizontal component become cos theta, F cos theta. Okay, so F sine theta is the force which is responsible for the bending stresses, and F cos theta is the force which is responsible for the direct stresses. So here if we say that sigma d, which is denoted for the, which is denoted for the direct stresses, direct stresses, so which is equal to F cos theta divided by A, F cos theta F cos theta divided by A. And what is A? What is A? A is the cross sectional area of the beam, cross sectional area of the beam. Okay, and if we want to find out the bending stresses, so that is the MC divided by I, where C is the this distance, and this distance is the midpoint of axial midpoint of this thickness of this beam. Okay. And I, you very well know, this is the moment of inertia, and m is the moment. Okay, so these are the formula which we are going to use to solve the different problem in this chapter. Okay, so let's start. Okay, for the beginning of the unit, we have to recall different topics which we studied previously, like a stress and okay. Starting, I already told material is totally based on two stress and labor moving around these two words, stress and strain. Okay, so let us start the first one. Simple stresses and strain. Introduction: strain, stress, tensile, compressive, shear stresses. Elastic limit, Hooke's law, position or Poisson ratio, modulus of elasticity, modulus of rigidity, bulk modulus, bar of the bearing section, extension of the tapering rod, Hooke's stress, hoop stresses and stress in the oblique section. So these are all points we already covered previous units. So principal stresses and strain, what is that? State of the simple shear, relationship between the elastic constant, compound stresses, principal planes, principal stresses, Mohs cycle of the stresses, principal strain, angle of the oblique of resultant stress, principal stresses in the beam. So these topic also covered. Torsion, I already just finished the torsion unit. Torsion of the circular shaft, solid shaft, hollow section shaft, shear stresses, angle of twist, torsion moment of resistance, power transmission by a shaft completed, key and completed, combined bending and torsion. Combination of the bending and torsion is already completed. Closed helical is not in your syllabus. Principal stresses in this shaft subjected to the bending, torsion, and axial. This is also completed. So this is not in your syllabus, so we don't use these two topics. So I covering this. Okay. So now bending moment and shear force. Okay. This is belongs to the bending moment and shear force diagram. Okay. This is also completed. Bending moment, shear force in the statically determined being subjected to uniformly distributed, concentrated and varying relationship between the bending moment and shear force and rate of the loading. Okay. Moment of inertia, this unit is also completed. So what are these points which we covered in particular this topic, moment of inertia, concept of the moment of inertia of a plane area, polar moment of inertia, radius of gyration of an area, parallel axis theorem is completed, moment of inertia, composite area is completed, product of inertia is completed, principal axis and principal moment of inertia point is covered in the first unit, moment of inertia, okay, which is completed before the second unit. Now, stresses is beam. So here this unit is start from this point. Stresses in the beam. Okay, already discussed different type of stresses which is produced in the beam. Okay, so theory of simple bending stresses, moment of resistance, modulus of section, build up and composite beam section, beam of uniform strength. Okay, shear stresses in the beam, distribution of shear stresses in the different section, mechanical property. So this property is we study in the third unit, ductility, brittleness, toughness, durability, behavior of the ferrous and non-ferrous material in the tension and compression, shear and bending test, standard test. Okay, so influence of various parameter of the test result, true and normal stresses, mode of failure, characteristics of stress and strain curve. So I briefly explain what the stress and strain curve, because the stress and strain curve is come around the unit 1, sorry, unit 2 and 4. Okay. Azimuth Charpy test, tension impact test. So all these tests is completed. Fatigue test is not in your syllabus. Sleep test is not in your syllabus. Okay, correlation between the mechanical properties is completed. Effect of temperature. Okay, so effect of temperature. What is the effect of temperature when we apply the temperature in particular component material? Say the plastic zone is occur faster than normal temperature. So if we increase the temperature of the material, then what happen? The elasticity is reduced. Means कि कंपोनेंट है, कोई मटेरियल है, उसका टेम्परेचर अगर हम इंक्रीज करेंगे तो क्या होगा, उसकी इलास्टिसिटी डिक्रीज हो जाएगी. मीन्स वो क्या कहते हैं कि कम लोड पे ही प्लास्टिक फॉर्मेशन की ओर चला जाएगा. ओके, so different fine type of thermometer, and this is not in your syllabus. Okay, measurement of strain and electrical, this is also not in your syllabus. Okay, cases is not in our syllabus, so I am not covering these points. Aim of the mechanics of solid or strength of material. Proceeding how geometry and physical properties of structure will influence its behavior under service condition. Means in the strength of material or mechanics of solid, we can discuss how material is performed during the load. Means जो भी लोड अप्लाई हो रहा है, लोड एप्लीकेशन पे जो मटेरियल है, हाउ दे बिहेव. We can analysis of their material behavior under the loading condition. Okay, so strength and stiffness of structure is function of size and shape. Certain physical property of material, we discuss these things. Elasticity. So what is the elasticity? Elasticity, anyone can define what is the elasticity, because from the beginning this elasticity plasticity is no. So anyone have to define what is the elasticity. How many students is there? What is the elasticity?
Property of a substance to regain its shape, size, and dimension after deformation.
Okay, correct answer.
Ability of
So, yes, yes.
Ability of a deformed material to return to its original position.
Okay, right answer. Next is plasticity. You can define. Any students?
Ability of a material to undergo permanent deformation.
Yeah, permanent deformation. Anyone else want to try what is the plasticity? Okay, or we can say that the ability of material to remains their deformation. ओके मीन्स जो भी डिफॉर्मेशन मटेरियल में हुआ है वो उसको रिटेन कांस्टेंट रखता है, दैट इज द आल्सो प्लास्टिसिटी। मीन्स जो भी डिफॉर्मेशन होता है वो उसको चेंज नहीं करता है, शेप में स्टेबल हो जाता है, दैट इज द आल्सो इलास्टिसिटी, सॉरी प्लास्टिसिटी। ओके, तो sometime we need high plasticity and sometime we need more elastic material. Okay, so anyone can tell the most elastic material available?
Rubber.
Okay, right answer. Rubber is the most elastic properties material, and it is also when we give the temperature, it is easily deformed in the plastic deformation. Okay, we can easily change its shape in any required shape. Okay, with the application of the temperature. Okay, ductility, malleability, brittleness, toughness, hardness. So these points we already covered in the mechanical property unit, which is third unit, which from which unit we start our syllabus, mechanical property and their application. Okay, now what are the internal forces? Internal forces is nothing but stresses. Okay, so when we say that what's the pressure, pressure intensity is the force upon area, but pressure is the external action, and stresses is also force upon area, but it is internal forces. Why it's produced, why the stresses is produced? Because each and every material have to resist the deformation, have a property to resist the deformation. Okay, so to resist the deformation they can produce internal forces to change its position and deformation due to the external force application. ठीक है ना, जो भी एक्सटर्नल फोर्स अप्लाई होता है वो उसकी टेंडेंसी क्या होती है, टू चेंज द पोजीशन ऑफ द कंपोनेंट और टू चेंज द शेप ऑफ द कंपोनेंट। ओके, लेकिन जो नेचर है मटेरियल का वो क्या है कि पर्टिकुलर जो भी डिफॉर्मेशन होगा या भी जो भी पोजीशन चेंजिंग होगी उसको डिफीट करेगा, उसको क्या कहते हैं कि रजिस्ट करेगा नहीं, उसको वो चेंजिंग नहीं होने देगा, ना उसके साइज में ना शेप में, कुछ भी डिफॉर्मेशन को वो रजिस्ट करता है। ठीक है, कब तक आपका चेंज नहीं होगा कोई भी मटेरियल, अगर हम फोर्स अप्लाई करते हैं तो वो कब तक क्या कहते हैं कि उसको शेप एंड साइज को रजिस्ट कर सकता है, जब तक कि आपका एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस जो है इंटरनल स्ट्रेसेस के इक्वल रहता है। ठीक है ना। अभी ये देखिए, जैसे इन द डायग्राम देयर इज अ एग्जांपल ऑफ एक्सियल टेंशन, ठीक है ना। तो इसमें एक आपका रॉड है, ठीक है ना। रॉड एक अप पर पॉइंट में एक यहाँ पे फिक्स है, ओके। यहाँ पे ये रॉड फिक्स है और यहाँ पे दूसरे एंड पे क्या है कि हमने पी फोर्स अप्लाई किया है, एक्सियल लोड अप्लाई किया है, ठीक है ना। तो एक्सियल लोड पी है, ठीक है ना। तो ये इस डायरेक्शन में मटेरियल को स्ट्रेच कर रहा है, तो अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में स्ट्रेस प्रोड्यूस हो जाएगा टू अपोज दिस डिफॉर्मेशन, टू अपोज दिस डिफॉर्मेशन, दैट इज कॉल्ड द स्ट्रेसेस, ठीक है ना। तो स्ट्रेसेस तभी प्रोड्यूस होगा जब एक्सटर्नल फोर्स अप्लाई होगा। अगर एक्सटर्नल फोर्स अप्लाई नहीं है, एक्सटर्नल फोर्स वैल्यू इज जीरो, देन स्ट्रेस वैल्यू इज आल्सो जीरो, ओके। टेन टू पुल इट अपार्ट मीन्स दो पार्ट में, और ये आपका लास्ट पॉइंट हो जाएगा क्या, रैप्चर का। सी अभी जैसे ये टेंसाइल के लिए है, तो ये कंप्रेसिव के लिए है, एक्सियल कंप्रेशन इज दियर। सो क्या है कि आपका इस डायरेक्शन में फोर्स लग रहा है, तो इसके अपोजिट डायरेक्शन में आपका क्या कहते हैं कि स्ट्रेस प्रोड्यूस हो जाएगा। ये फोर्स P इक्वल टू सिग्मा इंटू ए, तो सिग्मा क्या है, स्ट्रेसेस है, तो P अपॉन ए। तो यहाँ पे अगर P फोर्स लग रहा है, तो ये जो P है वो इसके क्रॉस सेक्शन और स्ट्रेस के मल्टीप्लिकेशन के बराबर होगा। यानी से जो भी स्ट्रेस जनरेट होगा, प्रोड्यूस होगा, उसको अगर क्रॉस सेक्शन से मल्टीप्लाई कर देंगे तो वो हो जाएगा। तो अगर टेंशन में है तो रैप्चर होता है, मीन्स फेल्योर होता है, ब्रेक हो जाता है। और अगर कंप्रेशन में है तो एक्सियल कंप्रेशन में है तो क्या होगा, बीम इज शॉर्टेन द बार, क्रशिंग, बकलिंग। तो ये होता है कि आपका क्रश हो जाता है, ठीक है, या फिर बकल हो जाता है। बकल का मतलब है बेंड, ओके। सो these are the tension and there is the compression, okay. So resistance offered by the material per unit cross sectional area is called stresses, that is P upon A. यूनिट ऑफ स्ट्रेसेस न्यूटन पर मीटर, पास्कल बोलते हैं, और पास्कल इज नथिंग बट दिस इज द 1 न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर और किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर, ओके। मेगा न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर एंड गीगा न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर, तो ये आपका डिफरेंट यूनिट है, ठीक है ना। तो 1 किलो न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर कितना होगा, 1000 पास्कल के इक्वल होगा। एंड मेगा न्यूटन मीटर स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू कितना, 10 टू पावर 6 एंड दिस इज 10 टू पावर 12, ठीक है ना। So permissible stress are allowable stresses are working stresses equal to yield stresses or ultimate stresses factor of safety divided by factor of safety। तो अभी factor of safety क्या है, anyone student anyone can define what is the factor of safety। Okay, so I tell you the factor of safety आपका क्या कहते हैं कि डायमेंशनलेस, फर्स्ट थिंग्स कि इसकी डायमेंशन नहीं होती। दूसरी चीज़ क्या होता है कि आप देखिए कि पर्टिकुलर जैसे आपका बाइसिकल लेते हैं या लोड लेते हैं, चेयर लेते हैं, कुछ भी परचेज करते हैं, तो उसकी एक लिमिट रहती है, लोडिंग कैपेसिटी बोलते हैं जिसको, ठीक है ना। कि ये आपने साइकिल लिया, साइकिल के पीछे आप सीट बैठते हैं साइकिल के ऊपर, तो उस पे आपका लोडिंग कैपेसिटी रहती है कितनी, मान लीजिए 80 केजी है, कि 80 केजी का जो लोड है आपकी बाइसिकल या फिर चेयर इजिली सस्टेन कर सकती है। तो जो चेयर रहती है वो डिजाइन की जाती है, उस पे लिमिट कितना रहता है 80 केजी, लेकिन वो एक्चुअल में 80 केजी पे डिजाइन नहीं किया जाता है, ठीक है ना। अगर 80 केजी पे डिजाइन किया जाएगा तो 81 केजी पे अगर कोई पर्सन उस पे बैठता है या 81 केजी का लोड अप्लाई होता है तो क्या होता है, आपका चेयर ब्रेक हो जाएगी, ये टेबल ब्रेक हो जाएगी, ठीक है। लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होता, हम फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी लेके चलते हैं। तो फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी क्या होता है कि हम मल्टीपल कर देते हैं। जैसे आपका क्या कहते हैं कि 80 केजी के लिए डिजाइन होता है, तो हम उसको 80 केजी पे डिजाइन ना करके उसको 120 केजी, 150 केजी या फिर 160 केजी, फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी अगर 2 रहा तो उसको 160 केजी पे डिजाइन करेंगे। फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी अगर क्या कहते हैं कि आपका 1.5 हो गया तो उसको 120 केजी पे डिजाइन करेंगे फॉर द 80 केजी। तो फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी यही रहता है कि आपका जितना भी जिस लोड पर्टिकुलर लोड के लिए हम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं उससे हम ज़्यादा कैपेसिटी का डिजाइन करते हैं कि इन केस इमरजेंसी में अगर कभी उस पर एक्स्ट्रा लोड आए तो वो बियर कर सके। ओके, तो दिस इज द फैक्टर ऑफ सेफ्टी, ठीक है ना। सेफ्टी पर्पज से हम क्या कहते हैं कि जो डिजाइनिंग लोड है उसको इंक्रीज करते हैं। ओके।